This is from Schwank.
Schwank?
Schwank, that's the name.
With an E?
I don't know. With an E, yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck Schwank. That means, but all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Get the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up. Throw your hands in the sky.
Would it be wise to follow the same percentage for a given workout, whatever it may be that day, for both the main lift and the assistance work? Or should the assistance work be planned differently? Thanks. And to answer that question, that leads into something I wanted to talk about anyway. Sequencing assistance work. Okay, is there a time when the percentage work for your mechanically similar movements, your secondary stuff, should be the same as the main work? Yes, is how I would answer that. But it's not always yes. You know, as you get closer to a meet, yes. As we get more into the more specific training for competing in a meet. But in the further away from a meet, so say we're looking at the course of a macro cycle, right? A macro cycle for us is approximately 6 months. The first mesocycle, I typically will have people start with stuff that has lower training potential and that is less specific to competing in the sport of powerlifting. So that would be higher rep stuff. Think like doing sets of 10 or 12 on rack pulls, sets of 15 on a board press, stuff like that, okay? As they get closer to the meet, we might move the boards a little lower, maybe from a 2 board to a 1 board first, and keep the reps high, and then eventually we would move into doing maybe sets of 3 to 5 with the same percentage as the main work before the meet. And then I like to have people move into, actually what JP is doing right now, during a peaking cycle, where there'll be some accommodating resistance involved. It's expensive in terms of it's brutal to recover from, but it's a lot more effective. The training potential, I believe, is higher for that sort of stuff by flattening out the strength curve. You know, it's a very effective way to kind of put the finished product on the platform. But so the answer to that question is depends on what phase of training you're in.
You don't get an answer.
Yeah, I mean it depends. There's no cut and dry answers. I mean if you're a beginner or a novice lifter, which most of you are novice lifters, despite what you might think, you can get away with a lot more than
You
when
just tell everybody they suck.
No, they're just novices.
I'll tell them.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Most people that compete in powerlifting have been competing for less than 5 years, and they think they already have everything worked out. They got all these calculators for figuring stuff out on the internet already, and
people check those things.
You know, master coaches. But realistically, you know, if you're a novice lifter, if you're not in the advanced level of development, and when I say that, I'm not talking about what your performance is. I'm talking, because that has to do more with what your potential is and where you fall on the curve. But what I'm referring to is your training maturity. So there's 3 stages I would consider for training maturity, being low, medium, and high. And within each of those, there is a spectrum of, you know, within each category. Whereas JP obviously had high training age when I met him, high training maturity when I met him, but he's come a long way since then by taking things to the next level and getting intelligent.
Yeah, just directing it a little better.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. See, I knew that, and I didn't even have to do the sequencing and stuff at first with him because I knew the type of training he was coming from was very simple.
Yeah.
So even moving into just a basic fist set setup would make a big difference, and it did. And then as we got into the more, now we're fine tuning and getting into where, you know, stuff is just every session is exactly how we want it. It takes a little bit to get dialed in, but that's what I would say for that.
The big picture.